Abuse and violence against feminists by trans activist thugs is getting worse. We've seen it recently in Melbourne, in Paris, in different cities in Spain. And most recently in Los Angeles. And you may be aware of a certain numbskull of a trans activist, a total imbecile, who, when he heard that Baroness Nicholson had been invited to speak here, suggested that someone stand behind her with a placard in what he called a peaceful protest. Well, he can say that in the full knowledge that if any of them did that, they wouldn't be pushed around. They wouldn't have their placard ripped up. They wouldn't have their hat and glasses grabbed from them and thrown away. And they wouldn't be punched in the face, because that's not our style. It's the style of their cult. On 26th of June this year, in some 20 cities around Spain, feminists protested draft legislation promoted by their government minister for equality, who is a handmaid extraordinaire, or extraordinaria, I should say, called Irene Montero, who wants to legislate in favour of gender self-ID for anyone over the age of 14. Also for banning psychotherapeutic approaches to dealing with gender dysphoria, because it's supposedly conversion therapy, and for strengthening so-called hate crime legislation like what they've got in Scotland. On YouTube, there are videos showing feminists in Madrid and Barcelona, and they are beautiful to watch. The women are so vocal and passionate, and although many said they were too frightened to attend, in Barcelona more than 300 women and some men gathered at midday in front of the City Hall, chanting and reading out their feminist manifesto.
El compliment íntegre de l'agenda feminista i per la paralització i la derogació de les lleis trans.
And in one of the videos, you can see how the police are struggling to hold back counter-protesters from entering the square. Local police had to call in the riot police, and 3 van loads of them turned up. It was apparently really frightening. And at 10 minutes to 1, the women were told by police that they couldn't hold these trans activists back any longer, couldn't guarantee their safety, and told them to disperse. Well done, pseudo-fascist thugs, you're now despised even more. Meanwhile, at another protest, the same protest in another city, Murcia, a young woman was physically attacked and hospitalized. The background to that story is that the LGBT Collective of Madrid holds an annual award ceremony for individuals who have made a positive contribution to the furtherance of the rights of gay and bisexual people, and for successfully promoting misogyny in the form of gender ideology. They don't put it quite like that. You cannot hope to win one of these awards if you are courageous enough to stand up against male entitlement, to redefine what it means to be a woman, and to oppose the enshrining of the nonsense that is gender ID into law. But you might get a different prize. You might get one called El Premio Ladrillo. Ladrillo means brick. It's the Brick Award, and what a very apt symbol of a movement that has become so hateful and violent. The brick goes to the supposed transphobe of the year. Last year, it was given to feminist writer and novelist Lucía Echevarría. But what exactly did Lucía do to deserve this honour? Did she threaten abuse or assault anyone? Did she treat anyone in the way that feminists in Spain and other places, including right here, of course, are being treated by trans activist bullies? Of course not. What she did was express an opinion based on the truth and on her experience of what it is to be an actual woman. She opposes gender self-ID laws, and for that she gets all the hate that any woman brave enough to stand up to the bullies gets. Last December, Lucia tweeted, "I have been informed that I've just been awarded Transphobe of the Year," and Irene Montero, Minister for Equality, who chaired the awards ceremony, sat there applauding. "Criticising a law with data is not transphobia," she said. "Applauding when they organise a campaign to harass and demolish a woman is misogyny." And she goes on to say that she can't go out anymore, can't go out alone, can't go out at night. Her daughter is afraid to go out on the street. Be very ashamed, you absolute swine. The name of the young woman who was assaulted in Murcia on 26 June is Laura Strego, a high-profile feminist cartoonist who had drawn a cartoon inspired by the Brick Award given to Lucia and lampooning the minister, Irene Montero. For that, and for daring to join women publicly standing up for their rights, she ended up in hospital. To Irene Montero, I would like to point out that there is nothing progressive or feminist in targeting a woman for having an opinion you don't like. Shame on you, handmaid. To you and to every other politician in the world, especially here in the UK, and everyone else who is kowtowing to gender ideology, this really shouldn't need saying, but there is nothing progressive about trying to intimidate women resisting an ideology and legislation that hurts us. There's nothing reasonable or decent or humane about using violence against us. That's not going to make us change our minds or shut us up as you so desperately want. That's just going to make us more determined to keep resisting and keep fighting. And if I may borrow a phrase from another imbecile called Tara Wolff, you're no better than Fash. To our sisters in Spain, on behalf of your sisters and allies here in the UK, I'd like to say we love you, we applaud you, we are with you. Stay strong.